Alright, so this is my part 2 of my Rev'It Tornado 2 suit. So here's the insulator I was talking about. So this is the pants, the insulator pants, as well as being a waterproof layer. So the waterproof layer works pretty well to waterproof. So as far as how long they last, I don't know. So how this fits on the top here, it zips into the pants all the way around. And the bottom as well. The bottom also zips all the way around as well. So I like that. I like how it zips like that. And the inside here has the zipper, so that way you can have boots on and you can still zip it on. But I find that when I have my boots on, I can't put this on. I can't really put my pants on because because the bottom here it's a bell bottom, so it slips through, and with the opening it slips through. But above that, where you pass the bell bottom and you pass the zipper, it's kind of tight in the knee, lower thigh area. So I can't really fit through my boots. So I actually have to take my pants off. Well, I not take my pants off. Take my boots off to put the pants on or off. So I can't just have my shoes on or boots on. I can have regular shoes on, but not boots. And that's true with the pants by itself as well. It's the same thing. So that's that. One thing about this that failed pretty much right away was, I think, the second day or so, was this little button here. Actually, you can see that it's ripped off. There's a button here, so basically when the pants is in, when this insulator layer is inside the mesh pants, there's a button here where basically this is where the fly area is. So this button here snaps on. I'm not sure where the snap is. I think the snap broke off too. Snaps on. Oh, here it is. It snaps on right here. So that way, instead of because they made the fly area here, they made it kind of open and loose. So that way, if you need to stop and take a piss, this thing has enough opening. So that way, you could pee, right? But if you just leave it there and it just kind of dangles here, it's kind of a lot, and it's kind of bunchy. So it kind of a lot here where the opening of the fly opening is. So that button would snap in here. So that way it kind of folds out of the way, right? So when you need to take a piss, you could unzip and you unbutton, and that way the flap here is nice and roomy. So that way you can flap down and you have clearance, right? But anyways, so the button here, it basically ripped right off because how the button attaches, there's no reinforcement, nothing at all. It's straight fabric, and that's it. So after like the second day of use, this thing just straight up ripped off. So they need to reinforce this button for it to work properly. But I'm not sure if it would be a good idea, because the reinforcement would make this thing a little bit bunchier, and all of a sudden, right at your belly button area, you have this lump. So that might not work very well. It might be better just to leave it like this, and that way it's a little bit flatter. That's about it with that. Let's talk about the jacket, the top. Actually, let me move this over here. So this jacket top here, right? It zips in. It zips in, and it has this double flap. Right? A flap on one side of the zipper and a flap on the other side, so that way they fold into each other, and they Velcro on. So it keeps out water, and it works really well. Riding this thing, it works really well. It keeps me pretty dry, not completely dry. The main thing that gets wet is actually right in my torso right here. It gets wet because you're looking at how this thing zips, how this rain layer, this insulation layer zips into the mesh jacket. It actually only attaches by the zipper here, and the zipper is only half of the torso. So this half here zips in on both sides, right? And at the top here has this little snap thing in the jacket. It snaps around this loop, and the end of each sleeve has the same thing in the sleeve as well. It has that snap loop right here that just snaps in, so that holds everything together. But here they should have made it so that way the zipper goes all the way down at the end, because what happens is, because they made this thing, the bottom here, they made it elastic, this thing tends to ride to the narrowest part of your body. So basically the narrowest part of my waist, because I don't have a beer belly, so the narrowest part of my waist is probably around my my belly button, or basically right below my rib cage, right? So this thing will actually ride up my torso to where my belly button is, and my rib cage is in the bottom of my rib cage. So I have like a few inches here on the bottom that's exposed. So that part of me will get wet, even though you have the pants on and with a waterproof layer, and because this rides up, and you have the actual mesh jacket, sitting down here, because this insulating waterproof layer has stood up, so that part right there actually gets wet because of that. So if they had made this thing either zip all the way down, so that way it has a harder time riding up, or made it so that way it doesn't have this elastic, it will be much better. So basically it stays down, so that way it doesn't ride up. So that's the problem, is that it rides up, and now your midsection there, 2 inches, 4 inches, or whatever it is exposed, and that part gets wet. And if you ride in the rain long enough, eventually it get wet until then the water will end up down in your crouch. And that's what happened on one of the days that I rode on my 10,000 mile ride. It was raining quite a bit, and for first, I don't know, and I have on this bike that I'm riding, I have the windscreen, right? I have the windscreen, right? So it's, for the most part, the only part when I'm actually riding, the most part, my body stays pretty dry. Being a scooter, your legs and stuff stay pretty dry, but still, after so many hours in a heavier rain, the water would get wherever it gets, and my mid torso got wet enough where water seeped down into my crotch, and my crotch got all wet. So that's when I can't take it away. My mid torso is still wet. It doesn't bug me too much, but once your crotch gets wet, that's when it gets really uncomfortable, and especially if you're sitting there for hours and hours on end. So that's the main negative of this. So Rev'It, if you're seeing this, anyone from Rev'It, if you're seeing this, fix this problem. Get rid of the elastics, and make sure that the zipper goes all the way down to the bottom, right? That's about it. Otherwise, besides that, it works really well. Even though this whole suit is a mesh style, and you put it all together, it's actually pretty heavy. It's just as heavy, if not heavier, than my one-piece Kevlar suit from Motorport. I think it's actually a little bit heavier. Obviously that one doesn't have a rain layer or insulation layer, but that one has pretty beefy padding. This one, the padding is it's not that beefy. It's not that thick. But yeah, it's pretty heavy for you would think it's light, but it's not. So that's my review of the Rev'It Tornado II suit, 2-piece suit. Thanks for watching.